Fox News alert breaking right now. Word of a major breach of security on Capitol Hill. At least 7 people who work for the comedian Stephen Colbert were arrested and jailed last night for breaching the Capitol building. Here's what we know right now. Capitol Police were called around 8:30 p.m. Thursday night for a disturbance at the Longworth House Office building. These individuals, who we've confirmed work for The Late Show, were seen roaming the building while it was closed to visitors. Capitol Police say they did not have congressional IDs and were not authorized to be walking around without an escort. They were booked and they spent the night in jail. Congressional sources tell us they were filming a skit on the January 6th hearings and were banging on the doors of offices. People like Congressman Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan, Republicans, you know the deal. One of the individuals, Robert Smigel, was pictured when he was in the Capitol yesterday. Smigel's a comedian who's appeared on the Colbert Show several times, as you can see here. The name of the others who were on Capitol Hill from the show are Jake Plunkett, Allison Martinez, Tyrone Dean, Stephen Romand, Nicoletta Green, Brendan Hurley, Josh Comers, and David Feldman. I want to point out these were not low-level people working for Colbert. We can confirm that Jake Plunkett is a senior producer and director at the show. Josh Comers is a writer. Allison Martinez is an associate producer. Who let them into the Capitol without authorization? Well, according to a congressional source, it was the Democrats, Congressman Adam Schiff and Jake Auchincloss. Congressman Rodney Davis sits on the Committee of House Administration and oversees Capitol Police. So, Congressman, is there an official investigation of this taking place right now?
Well, this is so new, Jesse. We just found out about the arrest today, and I'm going to make sure that when we get back to Washington next week, we're going to ask the questions that need to be asked. We'll ask the security officials why these arrests had to be made. What were they doing without an escort at a time when, the January 6th Select Committee on the 50th anniversary of Watergate made it look like my colleague Barry Loudermilk somehow took kids with gift bags to do reconnaissance missions. And let me put it to you this way, too, Jesse. The only people arrested by Capitol Police for touring the House office buildings are the people who work for Stephen Colbert.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it? And we've reached out to the Capitol Police, and they've confirmed this with us. They said it's an ongoing criminal investigation, and U.S. attorneys are involved. They are charged with unlawful entry, which, if I'm not mistaken, that is the exact same charge as many of the January 6th protesters were charged with. Is that right?
Yeah, it certainly seems to be, Jesse.
So what happens with Adam Schiff now and this other Congressman Auchincloss? Are they complicit in this breach of Capitol Hill security?
That's why we've got to get more information. That's why we need an investigation. We need to make sure that we understand who in their offices brought these individuals in. It's my understanding that these individuals were brought in by someone associated with Adam Schiff's office. They were over in the Capitol building or the Cannon building trying to be around where the credentialed media were supposed to be stationed in the midst of the January 6th hearing yesterday. The credentialed media were the ones I'm hearing that had them escorted out the first time yesterday. And then they came back. And it's my understanding they were offered a way back into the House office buildings by a staffer who worked for the other member of Congress. Then they were actually seen banging on the doors of people like Kevin McCarthy's office, Jim Jordan's office. What were they doing? Why were they there? And frankly, I'm interested in asking the Capitol Police, what did they do to make sure they got arrested? And what's going to be the final adjudication?
Well, that's an important question. We might have to have hearings. We might have to have our own committee to investigate this sort of CBS News breach of the Capitol. Obviously, they were way too aggressive, banging on doors. intimidating people. I mean, we don't condone that type of conduct, do we, Congressman? Stephen Colbert, I guess he says he's a comedian, but this sounds like more hijinks and like he was maybe planning something. Was this maybe even a conspiracy?
Well, we'll have to find out. But it's just so ironic that the 1-6 Select Committee, that's just a political circus, they're impugning my colleague, Mr. Loudermilk, for taking people on a tour of the House office buildings who were there on January 5th. They wanted to see their member of Congress. They ate lunch at the Longworth cafeteria, went to the gift shop, but they made it seem like somehow those individuals that included children were part of those who broke the law the next day. That's clearly not the case. No one was arrested, and no one's been accused of doing so. However, it's ironic that Democratic staffers, not even members of Congress, Democratic staffers who work for Adam Schiff and others, they're the ones who brought people in that ended up getting arrested by Capitol Police. That's saying something.
Do you expect Adam Schiff to fess up to this? Because I know him probably just as well as you do. The guy's a dishonest actor. He lied throughout the Russia investigation, and we know what he lied about during the Ukraine impeachment situation. I don't see him taking any responsibility for this. Do you?
Well, my colleague, Mr. Schiff, hasn't taken any responsibility for the Russia hoax, and he should. He repeated lie after lie after lie that cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. That's why arrests like this need to be publicized, and people need to be held accountable for these decisions so that we start to see that there's not two tiers of justice. The justice doesn't have a red shirt or a blue shirt on.
All right. So Colbert producers breached the Capitol, were arrested, and Adam Schiff was complicit. And that's what we have tonight on Jessie Waters Primetime at 7 o'clock. It's just ironic this is happening as the January 6th committee is holding hearings and on the 50th anniversary of the Watergate break-in. Rich with irony. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. And again, I want to see the mugshots. Talk to the Capitol Police. Don't be hiding the mugshots like they did with our friend Paul Pelosi out in Napa County, okay?
Gotcha. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much.